Hi, we're back cooking with Sharon, and I'm excited to share another winter-ish, fallish, but since we're, in winter right now, a winter recipe. Simple, a tomato basil soup. So, I've been showing a lot of options prior for vegan, vegetarian. We could make a simple vegan tomato basil soup, but today we're going to do a little bit different. And unfortunately for the vegans, sorry, this is not going to be for you, but don't worry. We will circle back around at some point and show you the vegan option. And I'll talk and I'll walk you through this too as I'm making it. But most of the ingredients are going to be vegetarian, vegan, with the exception of obviously this heavy cream, this Parmesan cheese that we have that we're going to garnish with, and this butter. But if we're making a vegan version, of course, we can get vegan butter, and we can use, instead of heavy cream, we could do a cashew-based cream and make it a creamier base, and then use vegan cheese. It's just going to be a little bit different. But today, like I said, let's just dive in. And this is going to be something simple, easy, and economical. That canned soup that you get at the grocery store, let's take it out of the equation. Don't worry about ever getting that again, because really what you're consuming is a can of sodium and some other things, preservatives that you don't know what's in it. So we know what's in here. And actually, if we took it a step further and had everything like almost 100% natural, I guess, we could actually roll with that. But today I took diced tomatoes. These are diced tomatoes, the 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes. What we could have done, if I wasn't trying to take a shortcut, we could have taken whole tomatoes, sliced them in half, and roasted them on a sheet tray. We could have tossed them in some olive oil, roasted them in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then gone that route with some fresh tomatoes. But we're going to cheat today, and that's all right. So let's get started. I have butter right here. We're going to take the butter, a couple tablespoons of butter, and we're going to saute. I have here a whole yellow onion, and then also I did a shallot onion as well. I'm going to start cooking with that a little bit more here. I use it at home just because I like the flavor of it. We tend to use more of the yellow and red onions here cooking on a day-to-day basis, but really the advantage or the flavor profile of a shallot, it's a smaller onion. Obviously it's in the onion family. A lot of people don't use it a lot of times, but it has a little purple texture to it, or purple color to it, but the flavor profile, it's somewhat of a garlicky type of flavor. So I added it today because I wanted a different taste for our tomato basil soup. So I'm going to take our onions and we're going to saute them down so they're translucent. About, I don't know, probably takes 3 to 4 minutes. And let's add a little bit more butter. I like real butter, but you're welcome to use, like I said, you could use a vegan version, or you could use margarine. I just said if we're going to go all out, we might as well go all out today with the heavy cream, the Parmesan cheese, and the real butter. So while that is cooking down, we're going to get our Vitamixer. We've used this before for a couple different recipes that I've shared with you, but this is just your traditional Vitamixer that you may have at home. If you don't have a Vitamixer, it's okay. You can use a Ninja, I think people have, any type of food processor, a blender. Today we're using this because the tomatoes, the diced tomatoes that we're using, instead of a puree type of tomato base. So let's put the tomatoes in our Vitamix, and actually while this is cooking down, I'm going to add in minced garlic in here. This is about, I don't know, a tablespoon of minced garlic. Let that cook down a little bit. The other ingredients that I have today here is this. I didn't mention this earlier when I was going through some other of the other ingredients, but this is veggie stock. So any type of veggie bouillon. We use a concentrated veggie powder here, and you can find that at your local grocery store. So, and I also have regular granulated garlic, salt, pepper, and then fresh basil. You can use the basil that is in the season aisle. You're not going to get the same type of flavor profile and taste. So I would encourage you to buy fresh basil. So we're just going to take our tomatoes, trying not to get dirty, and put it in our Vitamixer. And we're just going to puree it down just a little. One thing I have, hopefully we won't need it today, you may want to have it on standby, is tomato paste. That's going to thicken it up a little bit, but we'll start off with this. Hopefully we won't need it. If we do, we'll just improvise. All right. So this is cooking down nicely. I'm going to let it cook just a little bit more, and then we're going to get this started over here. Put it on a lower setting to start off, and we're just going to let it get to just like the soup consistency, a liquidy. I like some texture in my soup, so we won't make it so it's super liquidy, but just enough to have some texture to it. All right, save that juice, the liquid. We may use it. Actually, we are going to use it when we add it back into our pot over here. So you just want to make sure all the tomatoes are out. And yeah. Okay, it's looking good. We'll save that and get this started. I turned off my onion and garlic that I was sauteing, and we're just going to okay, so again, this is to your own liking. I like the consistency of the soup, or this is just a little, I'm going to actually make it a little bit more blended, just a little. But again, I like mine a little dense, a little thicker. And again, that's the advantage of making this at home, because you have control over everything. We're going to add in the onions and our garlic mixture because we want a creamier soup. That's why we're not leaving it in here and then adding in our soup mixture. We wanted the flavor from the butter and the garlic and the onions all to cook down, and then we're going to blend it all together. We don't want those chunks in our tomato soup. Okay. Let's see. Don't laugh at me, but I don't have my spatula, so I want to get everything. And that's making too much noise, so. Ooh. All right. Let's get this blended so the onions and the garlic are mixed. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. This is looking amazing already. I can tell. You see? The color's changed a little, obviously, because of the onions and the garlic that we've just mixed in. So let's do it just for a few more seconds. All right. So at this point, we haven't added in like our other seasonings, but I'm going to just taste it. Okay, so it's a little acidic, but that's all right because we're going to add in the other ingredients. We're going to turn our pot back on, and put our mixture back into the pot. Okay, so simple. And we're going to let that simmer for a moment. And while that is simmering, we're going to take our basil and chop it up. I like bigger pieces, so you can tell this is very fresh. We're just going to chop it and have it ready for our soup. All right. If you want it smaller, a little more minced, you can do that as well. I like basil, so we're going to add a little bit more because tomato basil soup. So again, you can make this a vegan version by not adding in, obviously, the butter, the cream that we're about to add in, and instead of I'm using veggie base already, so that part you don't have to change. All right, oh, I wonder why. I didn't have my heat up high enough. So you're going to do it on a medium heat, and we're going to add in the veggie base. I added in probably about a tablespoon. You don't have to overwhelm. Yeah, because I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself again. Black pepper. I do that from time to time. Oh gosh, it's been a long day. Black pepper, and then we're going to put in a little bit more of the granulated garlic. Okay. And it's going to start simmering. And since the tomatoes are basically already obviously cooked, we're just getting it hot and mixing in, simmering it, and cooking all the flavors together. Once it starts to boil, I'm going to add in some of the heavy cream. But I'm going to put a little bit of this tomato juice back in, just a little. One thing you also could do is add in a little bit of water. Okay. We're going to let that simmer. Let me try it. Okay. While it's simmering and cooking down, I'm going to add in this basil as well, so it can cook in. Get all those flavors. I mean, if you could smell it right now, the basil is so fresh that it is very strong. I love it. All right. So we're going to let that simmer. And then I could use just a tad bit more salt, but I'm going to wait towards the end. It looks like maybe I could use just a little bit more basil. So we're going to add that. And the key to, I think I've shown you guys before, like chopping and dicing things, but a lot of people, you don't have to obviously go as fast or slow as me, but the key is just having a sharp knife too, and then just pulling your knife up at a constant pace. Takes practice. Okay. All right. One thing I should have made to go with this, which would be perfect, is grilled cheese sandwich. I don't eat it, but I know a lot of people do. And this is a standard, one of our meals that is the tomato basil soup is on our menu already, but we actually cater to like 5 schools every day. So one of the menu items during this time of year is always tomato basil soup along with grilled cheese. And the kids love it. So something simple that you can make at home. Doesn't cost a whole lot. As you saw right here, the ingredients are very minimal and it's done in a short amount of time. It's almost done. And it's so savory, it's fresh, and it's healthy. So I think we were almost to, let's see. All right. We're just going to let it simmer a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit more garlic, and we're done. Except for the finishing touch. I said tomato basil soup. I didn't say a creamy tomato basil soup, but we have this heavy cream. So we're just going to add this towards the end. You don't need a whole lot. Let's say we're going to put in probably about a quarter of a cup, maybe a half a cup. But as it's just for the end to make it a little bit creamy. And that heavy cream is going to make it pop as far as the flavor. All right, so I poured in probably about a half a cup, honestly. And bam, there you have it. Homemade tomato basil soup. Done in what? I didn't time us this time, but maybe, I'd say 30 minutes? I have to go back and watch the tape. But we're ready to, oh shoot, did I not bring a bowl over? I'm slipping. You can let it simmer just a little bit longer if you like. And as it's simmering, I'm going to, I know y'all hear me still. I'm back. I had to get my equipment. Hey, I can't think of everything. Okay, so we're going to look at that. Oh my gosh. Fresh homemade tomato basil soup. Done in about 20, 30 minutes. All right. So what you could do is, if you want to serve it, I like mine with, and this is where I'm really adding on a couple more pounds, but it's okay. I like to add in fresh Parmesan, and then I like to top mine with croutons. So I'm carving it up, but it's all good. So there you have it. Bam. So, as always, we appreciate you joining us today. I hope you learned something new that you can share with your friends and family. Until next time.